Hi folks, and welcome back to the plot for a pretty disappointing plot update. You take your eye off the ball for 1 second, is all it takes. One little moment it feels like. You walk away. It's not good, So today we're gonna do a bit of a tour, and I'm gonna do a little bit of deep breath. Write a little to-do list, and we're gonna keep moving. We're gonna be positive. It's really not good. It's not good. It could be so much worse. Just keep telling yourself that. Keep reminding yourself. So where are we at? Right. We have just got back from holiday. Well, not just got back. We got back on Saturday. Today is Wednesday. Sunday, I came up to the allotment after a lovely, lovely holiday, a week away in Italy. Absolutely wonderful, but I was quite nervous about the plot. Now, I was quite lucky, very fortunate that my parents offered to do a bit of watering and keep on top of things, which was wonderful. And they did a great job, I have to say. We've just had some terrible luck. And Sunday, I came up, and you know when you're just like, oh, bloody hell. Oh, bloody hell. It just took the wind out of my sails. You know, we'll look around, but lots of things just slugged, lots of things dug up by the wildlife, birds, foxes, that kind of thing. Just had to pop you down. I'm out of practice, my arm's hurting already. And the other thing, and you know, I promised myself, not going to focus on it this year, not going to talk about it too much, but it's hay fever. For those of you who are new to the channel, who don't know, every year in summer I have awful, terrible hay fever. It's really, really bad. I had some allergy tests done a little while back, a few years back, and it was just off the chart reaction. So nothing like, I've tried it all, honey, even like herbal medicine, homeopathy, not sort of stuff I'm normally into. That on top of every prescription drug that you can take, and it has very limited effectiveness. I was on some new stuff this year, and so far to date, it's pretty much made it manageable. So I have not spoken about hay fever once yet this season. I was determined I wasn't gonna let it get to me this year. I was really like, you know, mind over matter. I was just gonna power on, not worry about hay fever, but wow, start of June. Ever since the start of June, it has been awful. Today is one of the first days that I've been like pretty all right. It's why I was like, as soon as wake up this morning, not too bad, you know, I didn't feel like I've been punched in the face by a flower, and I could open my eyes. I was like, right, we're gonna do a video today so I can do the update. But it does mean that June is kind of a write-off. Last year it was really bad, and I was trying to do way too much last year. This year I've been a bit more like forward loading, got everything ready a little bit earlier, trying to get it done. It's one of the reasons I wanted to get loads of stuff done before I went on holiday, and why I was so proud of myself for getting all those videos ready. But even on holiday in Italy, the hay fever was really quite bad. I had like a full-on attack in the airport. It's just terrible, like really, really annoying. That combined with coming to the plot, it just really sapped me. And you know, since Monday, it's just been work. There's so much work to catch up on with the day job, and it's just been like, you know what, we'll get to the allotment at some point. I'm hoping this weekend the pollen isn't going to be too bad, and I can get on top of things. But for me, the channel is going to slow down. The allotment is going to slow down. It has to be, because I basically can't leave the house. It is completely and utterly depressing. It's really demoralizing, and I feel so negative when I talk about it, and it's one of the reasons that I didn't want to talk about it too much this season. So that's still going to be my sort of resolution. I like the channel to be a bit positive, you know. It's all very honest. It's going to be very honest. I'm going to show you a lot of horrible stuff. But I always wanted it to be a positive thing. Overall, I like it to feel like a positive channel, because, you know, I do enough manking and moaning off camera. If I've got a camera out and I'm going to the trouble of making a video about the joy of gardening and sharing the wonder of allotments, or the experience, the ups and the downs, I don't want to be like moaning and manking and moaning all of the time. So that is what I will say about hay fever. Let me pick up the camera. We're gonna wander around. See how it's all looking. Oh, I don't want to show you. Okay, so rambling over, let's kick off the tour with a very good news, a bit of positive news to start. And that is the main two crops, the chilies and the tomatoes, are fine. All of the chilies down here looking really healthy. They've started to put on some good good growth. They've not grown much height, but they have got really thick, bushy. They've gone a bit darker. Perfect. Just what you want to see. And the tomatoes in the polytunnel that I planted out all in the ground, they have started rocketing away. So that, big relief, very big relief. But the stuff that's gone sideways is stuff I wasn't necessarily expecting. We don't actually have too much in the greenhouse for now. It's these kind of compost trial tests trays that I've left. This Brassica tray has been a bit weird. We've got some stuff popping up. What are you? We've got some spigarello, some cabbage. That's a volunteer tomato. Naughty, you're not meant to be in there. So some cabbage. Well, these are red cabbage that have come up. No purple spring broccoli. What's going on with this seed? Maybe the seed's a bit dodgy. I don't know, very spotty germination on there, but I've not been monitoring it. So it could have dried out, it could have got too wet, something like that. Very good news up here. These very slow squash and courgettes and cucumbers and that kind of thing, they have started germinating. Very, very pleased. I was very, very worried about these. They took a while. We've got a butterbush courgette, butternut squash, and Astia courgette, very good, honey nut, spaghetti squash, stuff just coming up, Marina di Chioggia, one just up there, very, very positive. Oh, that's a timer that I've set because I'm filling up the water butts with the hose. I didn't want to forget. It's nearly there. Just pop that over into that one. Let me just show you this is quite exciting. So, scallywag peppers looking really healthy, absolutely laden with these gorgeous little purple flowers. They seem to be quite closed up. They don't seem to open up fully, which is quite sweet. But back here, beaver dam, look at this, thick foliage. And we've got first little reddening pepper. Oh, look at that beauty. Very good. Too early, really. Too early. That's just as a result of me not taking off flowers being particularly kind of attentive. This pepper dew actually looks about 20 times healthier than when I left it. It's looking really good. It was a little bit dry. The peppers were due a dry. No, they weren't. They were due a water. And that is because, like I said, I've not been up since Sunday, so a lot of stuff was looking a bit dry. And it's difficult, isn't it, when you get that little knock to your confidence. Monday after work, Tuesday after work. Couldn't quite face it, but we're here today. We're getting there. Some good news in the Brassica bed. Not too much slug damage. Now, I have taken some solace in the fact that this has been a bit of a crap year for pretty much everyone. It's one of the few times that I've been able to go on Instagram and not been really upset by everyone's like perfect crops, because this year Instagram is full of people talking about slug damage, the slow growth, the combination of it all just being quite difficult. That cabbage has suffered a little bit. I'm hoping from, it actually looks like pigeon damage, but I think it's just really active slugs. So I'm hoping that that will fight on, but the rest looking okay. Scarlet kale's been left alone. This bed is actually looking pretty good. The main issue on here is the broad beans and, hose, get back in there. Where have you gone? No, not my feet, please. I've already got very wet feet because earlier I spent a while blasting the black fly off this. As soon as I arrived, I was like, right, I just need to do a quick water. And these broad beans were just flipping covered. You can see, I've just given these a good blast with the hose. Put your finger over the nozzle, get some pressure, and you can still see hundreds and thousands of black fly on here. Just unstoppable. I mean, you're always going to have some, but it is a good idea to keep on top of the black fly if you can. And I mean, just getting the hose on it is quite a nice, quick and easy way of blasting them off. But you do need to be on top of it. And like I say, go away for 2 weeks and they will just exponentially grow, Salad patch looking incredible. And I did bring up little plastic bags, so I'm going to be taking home some harvest today. Little weird weedy patch of verbena. Just left that in there, but it is going to need to come out soon. I'll thin it out and just keep a few to kind of turn that into a line of verbena. Bad times for the beans. Very, very bad times for the beans. So in this bed, we put in loads of field beans, 3 double rows, and I think they're going to be okay. But on Sunday when I came up, they were looking ropey. They've all gone really quite leggy, and they were getting maybe ever so slightly leggy, in the greenhouse, but it looks like they're still kind of doing it out here. These ones look really good, but these ones looking all burnt and crispy and slug damaged, and it's probably a bit of a combination of like wind burn and them not really being hardened off very much. I just had to, oh, phone's going again. I just had to be getting them out. That's what I was saying. It was a bit of a mad rush before the holiday, you know, and I'm so glad I managed to get so much stuff out, but some things are doing better than others. The beans actually, I think, look a little bit better. Well, those beans anyway, the field beans do. These ones do not look okay. The courgettes too are looking ropey as heck, but I was expecting them to all get completely eaten. So the fact that most of these are still here, it feels like a miracle. This little batch of squash, not so much, not so much, but the real damage is the beans. These were my yin yang beans and I was so excited, really excited, and this was absolutely packed, jam-packed with bean plants. I put in all this bean netting, took quite a long time, and they've all just been completely and utterly slugged. All of the Christmas lima, I put a row of Christmas lima in there and some over the other side there, completely gone, just gone. I think maybe 10% of the beans that I put in here have still got growth on them. You know, when you've just got these little stumps left, these little stems, and everything else has been eaten, oh. It's horrible, isn't it? It's just awful. There was a plant here once upon a time. These were real pigs to plant as well. I think this is actually a double whammy of digging as well as slug damage. You can see nice big digging hole there. Something has been digging in there. You can see the different colour of the soil compared to the nice no dig manure bed that I'd created, and you can see the roots of the plant there. It's just, really frustrating, isn't it? Really frustrating. Something has dug out a flower in here. Can't remember what flower I put in there. There was something, and it was just normal compost. You know, I'm not putting anything that should be attracting little digging creatures. I did transplant a verbena, that survived. Sunflower has survived, unlike the sunflower over here, which I'm not sure you could see just now. But yep, definitely slug damage over here on the beans. It's just, oh God. What can you do, you know? I think this is the first year I've really been tempted to try nematodes, and maybe it's even a little bit late in the year now, but I think next year, a little note to self, get some nematodes, and maybe I'll have slightly better luck. I think the slugs really love this bit because they've got the nice grass patch under the orchard there. One of those things. Another silver lining, not too late to sow more beans. So that is first item for today's to-do list, sow more beans. Just in here, you might remember I direct sowed a load of peas, and look at this. One plant, incredible, amazing, hurrah. There's, other than that, a lot of weeds, a few little stumps of peas that the remaining peas that germinated and then have been eaten by various things. On this side where I did more peas, not a peep, not a peep. However, these aren't looking too bad. This line of peas, well, they are looking terrible. Actually, I was going to say terrific, not terrific, the opposite of that. Just because they've not been. The water, I just had it going. Completely incompetent every time. That's why I set the timer. Then I forgot the timer because it was getting annoying. Keep stopping. But yes, these are looking okay. They just need another string. And you know, I can't tell if they're mange too or normal peas. I thought they were mange too, so I ate one the other day and I was like, that tastes a little grassy, a little starchy. And then I saw a post that someone else had done on Instagram where they were saying all their peas were really starchy this year because they've not had the sun. And I was like, oh no. And then I was looking at one at the end. Like over here, we've got this half that's kind of dead, and these have gone to seed a bit early, and that is normal peas. I don't actually remember what variety these were. It's likely I've planted Kelvedon Wonder because I've got loads of seed of that. So hopefully these are just gonna be actual peas. Although then again, I don't know. What do you reckon? Mange too or peas? Maybe I should have labelled these ones. I was convinced I took some pictures, but I was going through what I quite often do. All those peas are nice. What I quite often do, because I'm like filming and not labelling, I do a little video on my phone or I do a little video clip for the camera and it immediately gets lost. It doesn't. I find 90% of them But there's always a few that go a little bit missing. So yes, I'll string those up, but they are looking quite good. Silver lining, something else is good. In this other greenhouse, it's not looking too bad. The chili peppers were just very dry, really needed a good soak. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. The chili peppers were dry. The tomatoes were parched and on death's door. So they're getting a good soak now. These are all my spare black strawberries. If you're local, get in touch. You can have some very poorly treated tomatoes if you want to come and get them. You can leave them by the front gate for someone. These, once again, looking a little... Oh my God, my heart. This goddamn hose. Giving me problems today, folks. Get in there, stay in there, please. Stay. Oh, I was under attack or something. Something I've not mentioned, mainly out of embarrassment. Do you remember? Throughout the spring, when I was trying to get the greenhouses sorted, I put quite a lot of time and effort into getting the gutters kind of like jury-rigged up with something. Nothing works. Nothing bloody works. This one works perfectly because it's got one of those plastic clips that fits the gutter. So this is literally out of 4, this is my only working gutter. This one, it didn't work. I tried to use some blue pipe, it just doesn't work. It gets completely clogged. This one has about 50% effectiveness. Half of it goes down the pipe. The rest just goes over the top. And most heartbreakingly of all, I don't know how this has happened, but this one on the other side of the greenhouse here, which does have the perfectly sized plastic clip, nice water butt, everything lovely. The greenhouse is tilting this way. Somehow, after spending so much time on the base, I was like, what the heck? I got the spirit level out the other day thinking the ground had shifted. No, it's not the ground. This timber sleeper and the ground, I've leveled perfectly. It does gently slope off towards the back. But for some reason, the gutter doesn't. This end of the gutter falls down. Oh, that, like, absolutely infuriating. So all the water just kind of pools up this end, and it's not completely watertight, so it mostly leaks out before it can come out the other. Anyway, so that's plot 1. The beans, those yin-yang beans were really they were the heartbreaker. They did, I don't know, it really annoyed me. They were so difficult to plant out into the clay as well. But silver lining, yellow rattle. Can you see all the little flowers coming out? These are really close to ready now. There's a whole little pocket in here, even more than I realized at first. There's one down here, some more flowers in here. So really good little spot of yellow rattle in here. And I'm hoping I'll be able to collect that seed and spread it all throughout the meadow. Beans were heartbreak number 1. This was heartbreak number 2, to be honest, in the sweet pea frame. Thankfully, the sweet peas are mostly okay. They need the first little tying in, and they've just started bushing out. The ones at home now are literally getting up to the height of this. They're all the way up there, so these are way behind, but they're alive. Unfortunately, what is not alive are all the plants that I'd planted in here. You can't see because these have kind of fallen, but basically this entire bed was dug out by the foxes. This one I've kind of replanted, and there's another massive hole down here. So I'm just, it's not the end of the world, it's just like, I was really looking forward to how this was all gonna look. And it was one of those things where as you walked around, you saw one thing and then another thing and then another thing, and you just go, I'm obviously feeling a lot better about it now, a lot lighter. It happens with time, but yeah, a bit frustrating. There's probably a few more flowers kicking about in the greenhouse, a few spares, so I can hopefully kind of replant those, but just a bit demoralizing. A lot of those were slugged as well. Something that hasn't been slugged, remarkably, just down here, the Big Bertha bed. Look at these salads. We've got some really nice salad crops. My parents took a few of these as payment for looking after the plot while I was away. And unfortunately, look at this antirrhinum. This was just like picked out. I don't know if it was dug out or if a bird kind of lifted out or something. I do need to replant that in. We've got a few antirrhinums, a few nice little flowers in the corner. Down here at the other corner, we've got the peach melba nasturtium in flower, looking really cute. I do really need to get rid of that sorrel. This is just a temporary kind of cover really for weed suppression. A nice e-bike cardboard box. Strong as steel these things are. And yes, over here, look, Another survivor of the slug onslaught, my pumpkin. Still alive. This was a little garden centre purchase, so that's very good. A few more flowers in the corner there, look just about hanging on. Unfortunately, the potatoes, I'm really struggling to keep on top of the watering of these. They've bounced back today already, but when I arrived, they were looking absolutely distraught. And this one at the back in particular has had some potentially irreparable damage. It looks like where it's gotten really dry, all the vegetation's kind of fallen over and a few of the stems have actually snapped, which is really annoying, especially as I wanted to be in here doing... What is this? What is this? Where's... That's got to be a bird that's dropped that, right? Trying to make a nest, probably. But yeah, a bit demoralising, and I'm trying to, do the tests and that kind of thing, so it throws the results off a little bit. These new potato pots, things have been digging in here as well. Look at this. Giving them a little tidy up, a little zhuzh. And we have got some, it's not germination, is it, with potatoes? But you know what I mean, we've got leaves, hooray. We do also have boatloads of weed seed, which is one of the questions I had for my own homemade compost. Loads of tomatoes germinating, and those are kind of thistly things, so not great. How's this garlic looking? I've seen a lot of people are pulling their garlic a little early this year because of rust. I say no rust, but it's just looking puny. Not looking too good at all. I'm just going to leave it for now, see how it goes. Not holding out high hopes. And these ones look absolutely terrible, but there are 1 or 2 carrots in here. The weeds in this one, never mind. That's another day job. Sort it out later. There is some good news at the end of the plot. We've got some more rhubarb to harvest as well. This just keeps on going. Asparagus looking healthy. Do you know, I saw someone the other day pinning up their asparagus fronds. Are you meant to do that? I've not done it. I didn't know you were meant to do it. I've just let mine go rank and wild. I'm sure it'll be fine. There's a bit of weed seed germinating in here. Do need to get in and sort that. But the good news is these back beds. The flower bed has survived the slug onslaught. Very, very pleased with this. We've got some stuff popping out with colour. Lobelias have survived, a few of the dahlias. These asters, I think these are looking cool. And I said I wasn't a big fan of this Phacelia. And that was before it turned into these gigantic alien seed pods, which are absolutely horrible. Look at these. What is this about? Absolute alien nightmare plant. Not a big fan, but there are a few bees, so I will leave it for now, so long as they're enjoying it. But the really good news, the really, really good news that I saw just now, look at this. Can you spot them amongst the weeds and the bindweed? Look at this. Get out of here. Terrible. Parsnips, parsnip leaves, parsnip germination, very strong germination as well, multiples in each of these little dibbed holes. There's one here with the little seed still attached, really cute. So that's very good. I think I've done hollow crown this year. Well, I can't remember. Who needs labels? It's fine. We'll get parsnips at some point, hopefully. Another good one just off to the right. Look at these. These were good in the last tour. And now, oh, look at that. Absolutely incredible. These are the alderman peas. And these also look like mange tout, which is just something I'd never really noticed before. I've never grown mange tout. So I thought when I saw those other ones, I was like, oh, maybe they're mange tout for some reason, but I think that might just be what normal peas look like before they start filling out, which you would think you would know if you've spent 4 years growing peas, but just something I've never really thought about. I do not know what I'm going to do with this bed. I'll figure that out at some point, but it looks an absolute hot mess. Thankfully, nothing worse has happened in here. Oh, some of the onions are growing. I mean, they're not growing by much. But they are growing, which is more than they've done since I planted them out many, many weeks ago. Carrots moving slowly, but moving. Nothing disastrous has happened here. Unfortunately, what has happened that is, well, I don't know, disaster is a strong word, but like I say, it was just all of these little things that I saw adding up. And this entire tray of brassicas is just completely slugged. Just completely and utterly. There was some slug damage on here the last tour, which is why I did that second sowing in the greenhouse that we saw just now, but what can you do, you know? Sow more and protect them better, I suppose. Let's finish off in the polytunnel. I don't know, I feel like maybe I promise I wasn't deliberately dramatic with the title and thumbnail. It really has been how I've been feeling. And I think it was mainly just those beans, and those field beans all looked like they were going to die. And you know that video where I did 150 plants out? It was grueling. It took so long. It's planting into the clay. You know, I had a few comments of other people who were like, JB, I know exactly what you're talking about. Even if you've got something like a nice bulb planter, it takes so much effort and so much time getting down into the clay. So when you've done like dozens and dozens of bean plants and they've all just been completely annihilated, it's really just like, oh, for God's sake. Gets to you, you know. Fortunately, not too bad in the tunnel. The main issue in the tunnel, we've got a few watering faux pas, the first of which is really funny. I just remembered I turned up and I was like, oh, my parents have forgotten to fill up the autopot reservoir, because all of these, you know, multiple 4 plants with the autopot divider, they were all looking pretty dry, pretty upset. I forgot to turn the water on. There's a little tap just at the bottom there, little red tap, which I thought I had turned on, but I just didn't check. Very important when you do your autopots to turn the tap on and check to see whether or not it's, I've just dripped that all over my foot. Oh, they're just dried out from the, from washing off those bloody broad beans. I'm having a mare today. I just couldn't believe I'd gone to all the effort of like rushing to get all this done. I did like a nice specific video on setting up the autopot extensions. Mad rush, got the peppers all ready for the holiday. Forgot to turn it on. Do you remember I said there's the human element? You know, you always need to be careful. No matter what automation you're doing, there's always the human element that can fail. And for me, it's normally that which does. Now, scattered throughout the tunnel, I had a few sort of trays of spares and that kind of thing. And these actually looked okay. My parents had done a great job of watering them. This melon in particular had had a real growth spurt. But then my neglect since the weekend came in today and they're all, oh, they're looking thirsty, aren't they? I think they'll bounce back. I hope they will bounce back. I do just kind of assume this is one of my failings as a gardener, because I'm so used to working with chili peppers, which love drought. They will look like this and they'll bounce back fine. It's not ideal, you know, you want to keep them well watered, but generally speaking, very, very well adapted to drought. And I just kind of assume if I see plants like this, you know, we've got an aubergine there, a melon, tomato, I'm just like, oh, they'll bounce back, they'll be fine. But actually, I don't know, will they? I hope so. The chili grow, look at the colour of these. All 3 plants in the chili grow have got these weird, really anemic leaves. They're not looking healthy at all. I'm not sure what's going on there at all. Same compost as all the rest. Something you might have noticed in some of the videos I've not actually spoken about. There's a grapevine in my polytunnel. What? Yeah, I don't know. When I built the polytunnel, I saw it there, and it's never really done anything. You know, I'd sort of seen it before I took this plot on. I was on very good terms, so I'd sort of walked around a couple of times with the previous owner or tenant, and I had spotted that there was a grapevine here, and it tended to do just absolutely nothing. Last year, when I started the tunnel, it was quite late in summer, you know, August, and it was no bigger than kind of 40 centimetres high. So I thought, oh, when I put the polytunnel up, I'll just kind of tuck it in, see if it does anything, see if it's on its way out, see if it's going to die. No, it's not. It's not dead. It's loving this polytunnel. So what I wanted to do was just see whether or not the grapes are tasty. There's no label on there, I don't know. So I'm hoping I'll get a few off there, and if it's really good, then I'll do something with it. I don't want to leave it on this side because this is the south-facing side. This, having a grapevine on, would really shade out the rest of the polytunnel and everything under it. On this side, not such a big deal. This is the north-facing side. So I might retrain it over here or something like that if they're really tasty. The peppers in the big pots, absolutely robust, chunky, no problem whatsoever. No signs of drought or anything like that. Really good, thick growth, absolutely love it. Maybe a few more flowers on here than I'd like to see for something in its final pot. So I will take those off a bit later. Over here we've got another tray, look, shameful. More tomatoes. So a few of these have gone home. I'm going to do a little quad grow in the back garden, and a few have gone to my parents, and a few will go into the ground in the other greenhouse. I actually won't have nearly as many spares as I thought. I'll still have maybe like 10, 15, but I was worried I was going to have like, you know, 30 extra tomato plants I was going to be squeezing in. A few will go outside as well. But in the ground, the tomatoes themselves, it looks a bit of a mess because we've got all this blue from the irrigation system that turned out to be a bit of a dud. If you missed the video where I was talking about that, it's because it was at the start of the autopot setup and I found out that actually the flow rate on it is just useless for these tomatoes basically. But a lot of these have absolutely gone boom. Really, really pleased. I was struggling on that Sunday after the beans and seeing how much had been dug up and eaten by slugs, and I came in here and I was just like, you know what, yes. Over on this side, these were the slightly stronger plants. You can see I need to tie them all in now. They were a little bit too small when they went in to be tied in, but they really have grown an awful lot in just 12 days. So really, really pleased. We've got a few cucumbers over here. These haven't done much actually. These look pretty much the same, but they are nice and green. They look nice and healthy. What doesn't look healthy is this little ring of fire chili pepper plant. What's going on here? You look really droughty. I think this might not have been planted deep enough. I think it's probably got some root rock and some root damage. So maybe something, so it's got kind of symptoms of transplant shock. Got a very short string here, so that needs a bit more support. The two over here looking quite nice though. There's a little Zimbabwe black. Once again, needs a little bit of support, but that one will be fine. And the Korean chili at the back, got a few peppers on it, but some good new growth. I thought as I was going around I'd be coming up with this massive to-do list, loads of stuff to do. I do need to pot up my chili peppers. That's one of the big ones for me. I want to do more beans. These yin yang beans, they looked so cool. I was so excited for them and they were so much work. It was really the beans. That's the main thing. The beans and the flowers that have been lost are actually nowhere near as bad as I thought. You can just get in your head with these things, can't you? I knew I'd feel better once we got the camera out. I knew I'd be a bit like, you're fine, JB. What are you crying about? There's no use crying over a bit of slug damage, is there? Not. If we were crying over a bit of slug damage every time, then we would not get very far in gardening. There's some flipping massive lettuces in here that I really want to harvest as well. But yes, the to-do list not too bad. I do need some more salad trays because I'm going to do that thing where there's lettuce everywhere and I stop sowing it. So I need to sow more lettuce, probably some more brassicas again, because those weird ones in the greenhouse do not look right, and it's very late for brassicas now, but we got to try. And we've got potting up the chili peppers, keeping on top of the potatoes. 5, I do want to get a different irrigation system because I think it would be very cool to have a proper setup in here. 6, I need to get more tomatoes in the ground in that other polytunnel. Not polytunnel, the greenhouse, the second greenhouse. That's a big job. Resowing beans, I can't remember if I've said that. Resowing salads, and generally having a think about other things to sow. I do want to knock up some proper doors as well with the hinges. That's like number 9. And number 10, well, I think someone needs to sort out this grass, don't they? Everywhere you look. I did not do this long ago, and it's that time of year where it really does add up. But trimming the grass, probably the worst thing for someone with hay fever. I need to sneeze. So I'm going to be plugging away. I'm going to carry on doing what I can when I can, and the videos are going to drop off dramatically this summer because if I'm up here with hay fever, I want to be as quick as I possibly can, and it's going to be a bit of a struggle. And like I said, I don't want to be manking and moaning about hay fever the whole time. So if the videos drop off, they might not, hay fever might be done. It might be a miraculous recovery. Maybe the medicine is working again, I'm not sure. But yes, don't worry about me. That's my point. If the videos start to drop off, please do not be concerned. And massive thank you, as always, to all of my patrons who keep a little bit of the income coming in when the videos do slow down. It really helps to take the pressure off because all of that patron money goes into the plot. It all gets purchased. It's all things like compost, sheds, I don't know, what, irrigation systems, twine, container-wise pots, and all that kind of stuff. The things that just make life so much easier. So thank you to all of my patrons, especially my chili pepper tier patrons. Tony, Bill, Pam, Louise, Mel, Michael, Denise, Socks in the Garden, Andrew, Sarah, Dorcasor, Louise, Angela, Brett and Andre. Oh, I lost it for a little second there. Hopefully I'll see you again in the not too distant future.